directive from headquarters to move your contest online. One of the requirements is to mute not only your audio during the speech time, but also muting your video. So at this time, I'd like all of you to practice. First, mute your audio and also mute your video, with the exception of 2 people. And there are our timers, our 2 timers. Would you please go ahead and demonstrate how you will indicate the time for today's to our contestant, how the time will look like at 5, 6, and 7 minutes. Thank you very much, Mr. John Quick. If you would go ahead and rename yourself to Timer-John Quick. Our contestants, please go ahead and pin either Timer David Carr or Timer John Quick on your machine to make sure that you can see them during the contest. Our contestants have, none of the contestants have requested any kind of audible signal, so there will not be any audible signal. None of our contestants have requested any kind of slide share, so they will not be sharing their screens. Lastly, once we begin the speaking portion of the contest, our contestants have started from the first contestants to the end of all the judging time. Please refrain from putting any kind of chat message to minimize the possibility of distraction. If there is any kind of questions or requests, you are welcome to privately send your message in the chat box to either myself or Lou Brown as our chief judge. I will rename my box to say Contest Master Roger. But if it's a suggestion for future, well, don't tell us today. As you can imagine, there will be numerous comments coming our way. A number of online presenter officers and members who are familiar with our platform of Zoom have been given co-host authority. I'm asking all those co-hosts who have those authority right now to help me mute and unmute people if needed. If there are people joining in midstream in the contest, please go ahead and mute their video, mute their audio until we have completed the contest, the contestants speaking portion. If I would like to, at this point, to officially begin our meeting, I'd like to ask all of you to unmute yourself, both audio and video. And if any member or officers, or you are just trying to check us out, you just like to snap pictures, go ahead and print screen all you want. We have 4 pages of participant, 86 of us, so you can do the arrow on the 1 of 4, 2 of 4, and keep moving, and you can wave, you can laugh, you can smile all you want, and snap whatever picture you do feel like. So I am going to officially open our contest, so let us all clap nice and loud and welcome everybody to Online Presenters. Yahoo! First order of business, please mute your audio. Just the audio right now. Go ahead and mute all of your audio. My helpers who are co-hosts, if you don't see anybody muting, go and mute them all. And hello, everybody. This is, once again, Roger Fung, your contest master for this.
Somebody muted you, Roger.
Roger, you're muted.
Yes, thank you for unmuting me. Welcome to Online Presenters 2020 Video Speech Contest. Welcome all of our members, guests, and contestants. Let's make sure that we have fun for this next hour plus. And whatever messages and things that you can learn from today, both from our contestants, from our helpers, from our participants, let's make sure that we not only take in those lessons, but that we spread them wherever you find yourself. So let's have some fun. Allow me to share my screen to announce to you our speaking order. We have 6 contestants today, and the speaking order for today's contest: number 1, Jim Barber; number 2, Tiger McGinty; number 3, Sarah Gao; number 4, Lois McGolan; number 5, John Callahan; number 6, Christian Ramchung. One more time, that is number 1, Jim Barber; number 2, Tiger McKinney; number 3, Sarah Gao; number 4, Lois McGolan; number 5, John Callahan; number 6, Christian Ramchung. At this time, I'd like to ask all of our participants to go ahead and mute your video also. And our first contestant, Mr. Jim Barber, please be ready. If you would like to change the view of what you see in front of you, on the upper right-hand corner, you will see either speaker view or gallery view. You can toggle those 2 options back and forth, and it will not affect anyone else. It will only affect what you see on your desktop. Contestant number 1, Jim Barber. Look up in the sky. Look up in the sky, Jim Barber.
There is a critical shortage of an essential commodity, and it's getting worse every day. The world is in desperate need of heroes. Mr. Contest Master, dignitaries, my fellow Toastmasters, and our most welcome guests. I'm not talking about superheroes. Outside of comic books and movies, they don't exist. And I'm certainly not talking about celebrities, people who are famous for something trivial and unimportant, or worse yet, people who are famous simply for being famous. No, I'm talking about ordinary, everyday heroes, people whom you wouldn't give a second glance to if you met them on the street, but those people who are making a difference, a real difference in everyone's lives. Here's an example of what I mean. My dad. Now, nobody ever knew it by looking at him, but my father was a bona fide hero. Here's why I say that. Daddy grew up on a small family farm in Georgia, in the southern United States in the early part of the 20th century. As a boy, he attended a tiny one-room schoolhouse where he was proud to be the first of his family to get a formal education. So imagine his disappointment when his parents told him that they were proud of him, but they really needed him to stay home and work the fields more than they needed him to go to school and get, as they called it, book learning. So he left school. He never finished the 10th grade, just so he could work on the farm. That was impressive, but that's not what made him a hero. You see, it didn't last long. Shortly after that, the Great Depression hit, and his family lost the farm. Now Daddy needed to go get a job and earn some money, but jobs were scarce, especially when you only had a 10th grade education. But he worked hard at whatever low-paying jobs he could find. Then things got worse. He got married. I don't mean that marriage was the problem. Money was the problem. He wasn't making enough money for two people to live on. But as long as he and his new bride both worked, they could make enough to get by. Things went okay for a few years, but then something unexpected happened. Me. Mama announced to Daddy that he was soon to be a father. Daddy was thrilled, but also scared. You see, with Mama being pregnant, she wouldn't be able to keep working, and Daddy wasn't making enough money to support both of them, much less a third member of the family. Here's where the hero part comes in. Daddy didn't step into a phone booth. He didn't put on a cape or a cool-looking costume, but he did do something he had never done before. He visited the Atlanta Public Library. Now, this may not seem to be all that impressive, but remember that Daddy had never finished high school, and he was never comfortable with reading. He could read. He read the newspaper every day, but he had to read it one word at a time, mouthing the words as he read. So you can understand that the library was not a place that he was comfortable in. But Daddy not only went to the library, he checked out a book, brought it home and read it cover to cover. And not just any book, this was a college textbook. Then he read another book and another and another. Over many long months, Daddy studied those books, one painful word at a time, and taught himself electronics. And so Daddy, a 10th grade dropout, who'd always had problems with the multiplication tables, Daddy landed a job with United Press International as a field service engineer. All so he could make enough money to support his new family. That's the sort of hero I'm talking about. And that's the sort of hero that we need desperately today. Not fictional superheroes who leap over tall buildings in a single bound or run faster than a locomotive. No, I'm talking about ordinary people who perform relatively ordinary feats, who act without glory or adoration or sometimes even recognition. But when something needs to be done, they do it. So I have two challenges for you, my fellow Toastmasters. Do you recognize and appreciate the heroes in your life, the quiet people who are making a quiet difference? They're there. I'm sure they're there. But I ask because sometimes we get so blinded by the fictional superheroes that we see in movies, or all the famous celebrities that are showcased in social media, that we sometimes overlook the plain old ordinary heroes that walk among us every day. Don't forget about them. Look for them, acknowledge their achievements, and appreciate their sacrifices. But my second challenge is possibly more difficult. I call on you to be a hero. You don't need a superpower. You don't need sophisticated gadgetry. You don't even need a cape. All you need is determination, sheer determination, a commitment to make a difference, to step up and do what needs to be done. Today, we are experiencing challenging times, the likes of which we have never seen before. There are widespread shortages, and the world needs many things. But more than anything else, the world needs heroes. My fellow Toastmasters, the time is now. The call has gone out. The world needs heroes. The world needs you. Mr. Contest Master.
Thank you very much, contestant number 1. We will now observe a 1-minute silence for our judges to mark their ballot. Thank you, timer. All participants, please go ahead and mute your audio and video. Contestant number 2, please be ready. Contestant number 2, Tiger McKinney, the pot of gold. The pot of gold, Tiger McKinney.
I shall never forget my acting experience. I was offered the role as Jimmy in the last Playboy of the Western world. And no, Jimmy was not the Playboy, far from it. Jimmy was a middle-aged, comedic Irishman who enjoyed his beer. Talk about typecasting. My first reaction was, but I don't know how to act. My friend Doug, the director, put his hand on my shoulder and he calmly said, Tiger, sometimes you just have to take a risk because people love to laugh. For the next 3 weeks, I buried myself in this role. I became Jimmy. I got to rehearsal early. I stayed late. I drove my wife absolutely crazy, delivering my lines ad nauseum at home. My cat wouldn't even hang out with me. Finally, it was opening day. I was nervous. I got there early. The set was an Irish pub, so we had a dartboard. So me and a peer decided to play some darts to calm our nerves. Well, while we're playing darts, the director, Doug, my friend, came up to me and asked me, I have an idea. I think we can get a laugh out of this. As you leave the scene at the end of the second act, I want you to pick up one of those darts and throw it over your shoulder at the dartboard. I said, are you crazy? I visualized slipping and throwing a metal dart out into the crowd, followed by a blood-curdling, ah! He looked at me and he smiled, and he calmly said, Tiger, sometimes you have to take a risk because people love to laugh. The curtain went up, and as I stood side stage, I was nervous. Now, acting's a lot like giving a speech. You rehearse, you get feedback, you re-rehearse, and I don't know about you, but I get nervous before I give a speech. Sitting there side stage, I became way more than nervous. I became an emotional train wreck. My brain went discombobulating. I could not, for the life of me, remember my line. Well, it was my time to go on. Somebody gave me a slight nudge. I walked out on the stage. I heard my cue, and I froze like a deer in the headlights. Fortunately, Danny, the owner of the bar, was a professional. He walked over and he put his arm around me and he said, Jimmy, Meg's a fine lass, don't you think? Aye, Meg, you're a fine lass. The second act went much better, and I got a spattering of laughs here and there as I delivered some of my short lines. Then came the end of the second act, time to pick up that dart. I took a deep breath, I reached down, I picked up the dart, took a quick look over my shoulder, and I let it rip. There was this long pause, and then all of a sudden there was this chorus of laughter. Well, not knowing exactly what I had done, I turned around, and there was my dart sitting dead, solid, perfect in the heart of the bullseye. I threw up my hands and I exited stage left. The third act, the beginning of the third act, was my time to shine. I got to come on stage, going to the bar first, coming home from a wake, drunk, and I got to ad-lib for 20, 30 seconds. Unfortunately, during the rehearsal, during the intermission, I got really nervous. Took a couple deep breaths and I said to myself, you know, Tiger, you just need to take a risk because people love to laugh. So I came on stage with a big, heavy wool coat. I struggled to get the coat off because I'm drunk as a skunk. I finally get the coat off, and I go to put it on the coat hanger, and I fell on the floor. So now I'm giving it the old one eye. I'm concentrating on that coat rack. Yeah. So I pick up the coat, and I start to walk away from the coat rack. And in sheer frustration, I turned, and I just threw the coat at the coat rack. It went up over the top of the rack, finally caught, and the rack started shaking violently and slowly but surely came to a stop. I had lived. Hey, there be me, pot of gold. The laughter was pure music to my ears, penetrated my soul. 2 people got standing ovations that night. The Playboy, who had been on stage for an hour and a half, and Jimmy, who had been on stage for about 7 minutes. So what does this tell us? What can we take away from this experience? Sometimes you just have to take a risk because, yes, you know, people love to laugh. Mr. Toastmaster.
Very good. Yay.
Thank you, contestants number 2. We will now have 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. All participants, please mute your audio and video. Contestant number 3, Sarah Gao, never say never. Never say never, Sarah Gao.
Last month, I received mail from Toastmasters International. When I opened it, to my surprise, I find this beautiful plaque says Distinguished Toastmaster. I know I achieved DTM, but I was not expecting a beautiful gift from Toastmasters International. It has been 8 years since I first joined Toastmaster. How did I end up with my DTM? If I can tell you anything, that wasn't the plan. Dear contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, let me take you to the beginning of my journey with Toastmasters. 8 years ago, I joined Toastmasters with a very clear goal in mind. I would like to improve my speaking capability in English in the professional meetings. Let me tell you, I have this secret plan in mind. I'm going to pay my dues for 6 months, do my 10 speeches with the Competent Communicator Manual, and then out of here. Things start to change after a few weeks. The president of my club put out a call for volunteer. He says, we look for a webmaster. You do not need to have the experience of building a website. As long as you're tech savvy and you are interested to experiment, we welcome your contribution. I had to take this job. You see, for all the job application that I've seen, you have to demonstrate that you know how to do the job. This is the first time ever I've seen a call for a position where you just need to show you have the passion and interest to learn. I raised my hands up. That begins my journey of leadership with Toastmasters. After that, I continued to take positions as the VP membership, VP of education, my club, and I even took the position to serve as the public relation officer of my district. It is there I found my passion for education and executive training. I successfully switched my career from consulting to professional education. Fast forward until last year. A newsletter from International Toastmaster grabbed my attention. In that, it says, until summer 2020, the traditional education system is going to retire. If you would like to take the credits for all the menus and all the track that you have done, you have 1 year to complete it. It rang a bell to me. If I ever want to take use of all the credits again, this is the time. I might as well to spin the last miles and get my DTM before all the previous credits expires. So here, I made another plan. I need 10 speeches before I can get my DTM. My plan is I'm going to focus the next 12 months to complete my 10 speeches, get my DTM, then I am out of here. A few weeks after I started with this new plan, the president of my club emailed me, Sarah, would you consider to serve as Toastmaster for our next meeting? My immediate reaction is, oh, no, 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 no. I had a plan. I need to focus on getting my 10 speeches done. That's all. Just when I was typing the email, a thought occurred to me, a second thought. Is it really important? Is it really important for all the members of my club to always hear my speeches? Isn't it important for everyone to enjoy their experience in the club? Then I answered, yes, I will serve as the Toastmaster for the next meeting. In terms of my own speeches, I will find opportunities to give speeches as guest speaker at other clubs. Turns out, I had so much fun serving as Toastmasters, coaching new members. I end up starting my own coaching practice. And now I broadened my horizon on a professional level. Besides the day job that I really love, I'm also doing coaching on the side. What has my 8 years experience at Toastmaster taught me. In life, we want to work on something that we know for certain. We like to make a plan, and ideally, we want to stick with the plan. However, when other opportunities come to you, instead of answering no immediately, can you hold your thoughts? Think for another second? Instead of saying no, can you say yes? Because most of the situation, when you are in an act to help others, you will actually end up helping yourself. Let me challenge you with that thought. Next time, when you're asked, instead of saying no, please say yes. Back to you, Context Chair.
Thank you, contestant number 3. We will now take a minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballot. Everyone, please mute your audio and video. Contestant number 4, Lois McGowan. I will not socially distance. I will not socially distance. Lois McGowan.
That's right. You heard correctly. I will not socially distance, but I will physically distance. I have to tell you, like many of you, I ignored COVID-19 months ago. We buried our head in the sand. It wasn't for us. It wasn't about us. About 10 days ago, I reminded myself, hey, you have a twinge bit of a problem with your immune system. You should start staying home. And I thought, hey, this is awesome. Because you know what? I'm one of those people that's really an introvert, though you wouldn't know it. So I thought staying home would be a snap. My husband and I started taking walks with our baby. Every 2 hours, a 1 mile walk. Yay, it was so much fun. We had a great time with it. Then we did a jigsaw puzzle, a 2,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. Had so much fun, we're doing another. I don't have the heart to tell him that I just ordered a 5,000-piece. I don't think he heard me. I've been eating better, much healthier. I've been eating broccoli. You know that food that when you're out in public, you really don't want to eat? Now I can eat as much broccoli as I want. And my house is clean, cleaner than I could possibly imagine. And I've learned how to do that condo clothing thing where you just make it all nice and neat. See here, well, I'm in the process. It's happening. 30 years ago, I joined this club because my friend was starting something novel, something new, an online presenters club. For 3 years, I have questioned, why am I in this club again? I don't do webinars. I don't do presentations. And yet I'm paying for a professional Zoom account. It didn't make any sense until 5 days ago, when everything was exploding, when the world was coming to a social distance. And I had just gotten to the point where I said, I'm not socially distancing myself. I'm physically distancing myself. Meeting after meeting was being canceled. I was starting to feel like a hermit. And I thought, this can't be. How are we going to do this? You see, we are a species of connections. We're a social group. We can't handle not being connected. So I asked a simple question. What about meeting virtually? For many of these groups, it was, oh, what an amazing idea. Every one of you sitting here in the audience should be reaching out to someone and asking them to connect. Whether it's through FaceTime, whether it's through Zoom, this is the time that we need each other. It's not the time to socially distance. It's the time to reach out, to connect with people. You know, I hate the reason that we all have to stay home, but I have seen and read some amazing things. In my neighborhood, there is a group of volunteers who are collecting food for the elderly. They take the order via this app, they go out to the grocery store, and they leave the food on the front door. I was walking a few days ago, and I saw a mother and a father walking together with their 2 teenage boys. Now, the boys were bouncing the basketball, and that's okay. But what just absolutely astounded me was the fact that they were all talking. True interaction. No looking at their phone, no playing on a computer, no iPad. It was true interaction. And my favorite was this morning. I'm watching this dad as he's jogging along, and behind him is his 4- and 5-year-old on their bicycles, pedaling as fast as they can to catch up to dad. I haven't seen that in many, many years. Somehow, we have been socially distancing ourselves. So what's your new norm look like? My new norm? It's taking my walk with my dog. I'm learning to cook. Well, I haven't gotten past the peanut butter and jelly stage, but I'm getting there. And I swear, we are not going to call the fire department when I'm actually allowed to turn on the oven. I'm reaching out to my family. I'm talking to my kids at least once a day, and my sister. Usually I talk to my kids every 2-3 days. I'm FaceTiming with my grandson on a daily basis, and it feels good. I'm connecting in ways I hadn't done for a while. Somehow we lose that. Somehow we miss that. So my new norm is having a lot more social connections. I am not socially distancing, but I will physically distance. How about you? Are you socially distancing, or are you physically distancing? Mr. Contest Master.
Thank you, contestants number 4. We will now have a minute of silence for our judges to mark their ballots. Everyone, please mute your audio and video. Contestant number 5, John Callahan, surviving the storms of life. Surviving the storms of life, John Callahan.
It was a Friday afternoon. The phone rang. It was a call I'd been anticipating eagerly. It was an offer to buy the company that myself and a business partner had spent the last 6 years building. It wasn't retirement money, but it was the type of money that was going to dramatically change our lives. Maybe a new home, fully fund the kids' college funds, maybe some new toys. We were excited. All weekend long, we drove around looking at the new homes we might buy and mentally preparing ourselves for this big check that we were going to get. Monday came. We called the company back that had made the offer, accepted their offer. They said, great, we'll have the contracts to you by the end of the week. Let's get this deal done. We were excited. The next day was a Tuesday. But it wasn't any Tuesday. It was September 11th, 2001. It was the day of 9/11. Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, 9/11 was a storm that blew through our society and changed it forever. Within a few days, the offer was off the table. Within 6 months, the business was gone. Everything gone because of 9/11, because of a storm that blew into our life and put everything onto a new trajectory, a new course. We had been sailing along, everything was going well, and suddenly it wasn't. Sounds an awful lot like today, doesn't it? COVID-19 has blown into our lives, and it is a storm of magnitude size. There are small storms that just disrupt your job, your life. There's bigger storms that destroy whole industries. And then there's ones like this that come along and it's going to change the entire society, potentially the entire world. But we cannot avoid storms. They happen in our lives, throughout our lives. They will always happen. The only thing we can do is make sure that we survive those storms in order to prosper in the long term. So we come along, we've got these storms that are going to hit us. What do we do about this? How do we survive the storms? I believe there's 3 parts to it. You've got to prepare for the storm. You've got to ride out the storm itself. And then you've got to put that storm behind you as fast as you possibly can. Let's touch on each of those areas. You've got to prepare for the storm. Now, conventional wisdom today says that you should prepare for the storm by stockpiling 6 months to a year's worth of food and 1 to 2 years worth of toilet paper. Probably overkill, but you never know. But I believe that the most important thing you can do to prepare for a storm is your skills. What skill development can you work on that will be of value at the end of the storm? Now, if you were a, say, mortgage broker back in 2007, that might have sounded like a good thing to spend your time and energies on. But then 2008 comes along and 2009, where the whole mortgage industry collapsed, and suddenly those skills aren't very applicable anymore. But what skills are safe? What skills can you work on that will always be of value? Public speaking, leadership. The 2 skills that we focus on here at Toastmasters are the skills that are universally of value, that people will always find value in those skills. And the fact that we've been practicing online meetings for the last year, 2 years, 3 years in some cases, obviously that is going to play in well wherever this storm ends up taking us. So you've got to prepare for your storm. Then you've got to ride out the storm. You've got to get through this thing. And it might take a month. It might take 6 months. We don't know how long this storm is going to last. How do you ride out the storm? I believe the most important thing you can do to ride out that storm is to have a community around you. Not too close, safe distances, but have that community of people who can be there to support you, but to challenge you as well, and to make you want to do more. And we saw a tremendous example of that this past week in our own group, with Roger sending out emails, calling everybody to step up to the leadership challenge, to emails back from Lois and through other members, all talking about the importance of stepping up at this time. that's a community that calls us to do more. The third part of this whole process is to put that storm behind you. Because if you don't put the storm behind you, there's a good chance that it's going to pull you back into the weave of the storm and send you blasting against the rock somewhere. Putting that storm behind you is critical. When I lost all of that opportunity to make a significant amount of money, yes, it stunk, it hurt for a long time, but eventually you've got to ride out the storm and move on. So that's what we did. You've got to climb the mast of your ship and look out and find the dry land. Look out there, spot it somewhere, and then take all those skills that you've worked on, put it into a massive action plan, and head out there and go after the new destination. Riding out the storm is critical. Getting it behind you is critical in order to succeed. We cannot prevent storms in our lives, but we can prepare for them. We can ride them out in a community of good people, and we can put that storm behind us. Because sooner or later, we will hit dry land again. We will have beautiful weather again, and you will be able to sail off to the destination of your dreams. Mr. Contest Chair.
Thank you, contestant number 5. We will now have a minute of silence for our judges to tally their ballots. Everyone, please mute your audio and video. Contestant number 6, Christian Ramchunk. What matters most? What matters most, Christian Ramchunk?
Do you know you have only one life and it moves really fast? If you don't take time to pause and look around once in a while, you may miss it. That quote from the popular philosopher Ferris Bueller lit up my mind when my daughter rushed to me and said, "Dad, you can have this." Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and anyone out there who thinks that Winnie the Pooh makes the ideal coin box. My life was filled, just like this coin box, with values, one piece at a time, beliefs, one coin at a time, as I grew up. And I ended achieving what I wanted. I became a graduate, a professional, a husband. I had done it. I was successful. I had arrived. And the love of my life, Manjusha, was an angel on earth. She had everything I dreamed of and more. She would be the one to look into my thoughts, feel my feelings, and understand my actions and reactions. And as time went by, she did just that. The thing about life is, as I started to put the puzzles of my existence together and thought that was what mattered the most for me, life punched me down. It happened on one evening when we'd gone out for dinner for our second wedding anniversary. It was at a local shopping mall, and as we were walking down the alley of shops, I realized that my loved one has left my side. There she was. I rushed over and found Manjusha looking at this two-piece blue lady's dress. Her favorite style, her favorite brand, her favorite color. Honey, let's get this. No. Let's come back tomorrow. Was she crazy? And in that moment, I wasn't aware of what my wife was living. She knew that we had just invested in a house. She knew that our first baby was on its way. She knew that our funds were tight. And she was waiting for tomorrow to come so that she could get her salary. Tomorrow came. The salary came, and the dress was gone. Someone else had bought it before us. Do you know how it feels when the person you love the most doesn't get what they want? And then and there, I swore, never again that would happen to me. Never again that would happen to anyone that I loved. Never again. And I decided to work, earn, save. I started the first business, then a second. I started meeting clients, building my list of businesses, and on and on and on. Month became years. I became the father to a lovely daughter, and I spent more and more time out of the house. My clients were getting more and more. My trainings, my businesses, my life outside the house was expanding, but at home, and one day I finally got home, so tired I could do nothing but stare blankly at the wall. And my wife walks over to me. Christian, do you know you have a family? What did you say to me? Why are you spending so much time out of the house? Excuse me, I'm working, I'm saving, I'm earning and saving. And it went on and on and on. And my 4-year-old daughter, who had been witnessing this whole discussion, had tiptoed out of the room. A few moments later, she came back, touched my hand. Dad, here's my savings. You don't need to work tomorrow. Spend the day with me. That night, when I finally tucked my daughter into bed, I reached out to the only person who I know would tell me the truth to my face, my wife. I asked Manjusha, what am I doing wrong? And she told me, Christian, what really matters to you? Ask yourself. My friends, I have found my answer. Today, I believe I'm a better father, a loving husband, and a more caring human. Because I have built my life purpose, my why, my reason to be around the people who love me for who I am, the people who are always there for me, those who matter the most to me. Life is short, and if you don't turn around and look and stop, you will miss out. So I ask you, and maybe the virus came at the right time because now we can do it. Stop and look at what matters the most to you. Mr. Contest Chair.
Thank you, contestant number 6. We will now have 3-minute silence for our judges to submit their votes. Everyone, please remain silent. Timer, please give us a green, yellow, and red signals at the 1, 2, and 3-minute mark. One more minute for our judges, please. Thirty more seconds to close out our voting period. Everyone has been unmuted, so go ahead and unmute yourself, and let's give everybody a round of applause. So all of the contestants, go ahead, unmute yourself, unmute
Hold on, everyone.
videos,
Thank you.
come back into the room. Excellent job. I'm going to mute all once again. Let us get a chance to get to know our various contestants for a few minutes. So let's go with the order of our contestants. Let's welcome our first contestant, Jim Barber. Please unmute yourself, Jim.
I'm unmuted.
Excellent. Tell us, well, your name is Jim Barber, but tell us also, how long have you been in Toastmasters and what is your current educational level?
I joined Toastmasters in 1989, which coincidentally is the same year that the World Wide Web was proposed. So that makes 31 years now. I've been a member of Online Presenters for a little over 2 years. My current standing is, let's see, ATM Gold and Advanced Leader Bronze. I'm not going to make my DTM for various reasons.
With this unusual time, as we are dealing with all sorts of surprises, what is one thing that you have been surprised by in this last week or two?
To me?
Yes, Jim.
That question, for one thing. I thought I was done when I finished with my speech and I was relaxing, and now you're hitting me with all the hard questions.
This is the real contest, Jim.
I was able to handle what's your name, and I could even come up with how long I've been in Toastmasters, but now you want me to stop and think? That's not really fair, Roger. Not fair at all.
Well, actually, I'm surprised by your answer there, Jim. You are not one that usually can easily be surprised. But thank you very much. Good job, Jim. Our contestant number 2 was Tiger. Tiger, go ahead. Come on back into the room.
Hi, everybody.
Tiger, how long have you been in Toastmaster and what is your educational level?
I joined Toastmasters in 2012. I quit in 16. I returned in 19. So this is altogether my 7th year. I have a Advanced Communicator Gold and Advanced Leadership Bronze, and I am that close to getting my DTM the hard way, the old school way.
All right. Excellent. Now, one question I want to know as we're trying to understand and get to know you better, if you are willing to share with us, what is one thing you've been hoarding other than toilet paper?
I almost feel bad. My situation has not changed one bit. I live in a very small town. I'm a caregiver for my stepdad. I get paid to stay home. I went to the grocery store yesterday. They had everything, even toilet paper, believe it or not. So my lifestyle hasn't changed one iota, and I know I almost feel bad about that. I almost feel guilty, except what can I say? I've been social distancing myself for the last several years. So this is all normal. This is my social outlet right here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I wonder if Tiger is willing to do a little mail service. So if you need toilet paper, you know who you need to contact.
$10 a roll. Anybody wants a roll, just let me know.
He will roll it in gold for you. Our contestant number 3, Sarah. Please come on in back into the room, Sarah. All right, quite can't hear you. Let's try it again. Speak up a little bit louder. Up, not yet. Let's see if you are unmuted, but let's see if you're
there you go.
speaker. There you go.
Cool.
How long have you been in Toastmasters and what educational level are you at?
I joined Toastmaster in 2012, and I just received my DTM last month.
All right, congratulations. In this trying time, in this time where everything is up in the air, what is one new routine have you created for yourself? What is one routine you have created for yourself?
I was actually thinking about the same thing this past week. I've been reading a lot of mindfulness practice and a lot of recommendations for in a situation of social distance. One thing is to create regular check-ins with your friends. And I've been thinking about all my friends, and I realized, wow, I started my routine of attending online presenters meeting every Monday evening. There I have my weekly social happy hour with my friends from all over the world. We can hear stories from each other. We give best practice to each other. We encourage each other to be strong, to have hope, to be faithful, and to help others around us who need help. So I'm really grateful for this new routine, and I think it helped me tremendously in this tough time. And I very look forward to continue this routine even after this storm passes.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much. Our contestant number 4 was Lois. Come on in the room, Lois.
I'm here.
How long have you been in Toastmasters and your educational level?
I have been in Toastmasters since 2012, and I am a distinguished Toastmaster, hoping to finish my second one relatively soon.
All right, I know you are a creative person. You are our fierce leader here and online presenter. What is the magic solution you have for all of us during this coronavirus situation? What is your way that can wipe out all of those viruses out there, Lois?
You know what? I just keep looking, and I'm a very positive individual. I don't look back. I just always look forward with positivity. And I know that we're going to come out of this. Your money is going to come back. Things are going to be different. No doubt about that. But for every business to go out, there's going to be another business type that's going to be created. For every person that lost their job, you know what? My husband and I were just talking about that. Do you know what the road's going to look like in a few years? Because the government is going to be spending so much money on hiring people because they're either going to pay unemployment or get people to do stuff. So our roads down here in South Florida are going to be fabulous. So to everything that happens in a negative, there's going to be something coming out on the other side that's going to be amazing. And I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Excellent. Thank you, Lois. Thank you very much. Our contestant number 5 was John Callahan. John.
I'm here.
Hi, John. How long have you been in Toastmasters and what is your educational level?
I was trying to add that up. I started, I believe, 7 years ago. And let's see, in the old system, I've got the ACB and just competent leader on that side. And then the new system, PM5, Presentation Mastery 5.
Wow, wonderful. Now, you did also touch on businesses or industries being changed. What would be one off-the-wall business you would start a year from now? Assuming the whole virus situation's all settled down, it's all over. What is one off-the-wall business John Callahan is going to start?
Well, I don't know if it's an off-the-wall business, but it's been something that I think is going to be necessary, is some sort of a drone repair shop. So you take all these auto repair shops and you turn them into drone repair shops, since Amazon's going to be flooding the whole universe with drones. And I know there's a lot of people with guns in the United States, and I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of drone damage. So I think a drone repair shop would be pretty good.
Now that idea is copyrighted, it's recorded right now. So if you go out there and did something, make sure you send the check to John. Thank you very much, John. Our contestant number 6 was Christian. Come on back into the room, Christian.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Christian, how long have you been in Toastmasters and what is your educational level?
It feels like too long, but I've been a Toastmaster officially since 2011. And funny story, I got my first DTM in Pathways. It's my first DTM earlier this year in January. And now I'm completing my DTMs in a legacy program.
All right, very creative. No one says you have to do one before the other. Christian, what is one thing that you wish we all learned from this mess? What is one thing you wish all of us would learn from this mess called the coronavirus?
I think that we need to respect nature, because one thing that I've observed is it's been like less than a month that many countries have been in quarantine or isolation mode, and a lot of videos are popping up with dolphins coming back in Italy, ducks and swans swimming in the rivers. And that's one thing that, if you look at it, less than 1 month and nature is coming back. And if you think how much we have been hurting what we really need to live on and to survive, it's shocking and amazing at the same time.
All right, thank you very much. Now, if you're wearing headphones, make sure you take them down, or maybe just turn down your volume as I unmute everybody. And if you would just come on with your video and turn on your video so all of us can see you. Let's give a round of applause to all of our contestants again. Good job, well done. What are some wonderful, I'm sure the judges, our chief judges and the ballot counter are still working hard to figure all these things out. As many of you are here for the first time, in Zoom and in our club, I'm gonna let you explore a little bit. If you have not had a chance to introduce yourself earlier before we begin our meeting, go ahead and find a way that you can raise your hand, not your physical hand, but the digital hand. So I won't tell you what to do. You go figure out how to raise your hand, and I may very well acknowledge you and let you chat for a little bit. I see a thumbs up. I see a hand, and I'm unmuting Sandra. Sandra, if you can unmute yourself, I couldn't quite, there you go. Sandra, say hello.
Hey, Roger, how are you?
Pretty good, how are you?
You did a fabulous job. I really liked the way you conducted. Very, very professional did it. I've really learned, how to conduct a Toast contest online.
Thank you very much. My credit card number will be sending your way soon.
Good, good.
Please
I'm going to use
introduce
that.
yourself.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself very quickly, where you're from and how you find out about us.
I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was looking for the online meetings, and then your contest your information has been popped up. Then I started going through that, and I noticed a lot of things. So I thought it's better to attend this. And because you all guys also posted previous meetings, looks very impressive. I thought, let me join this and see that what's going to be and how it's going to be in contest.
Thank you very much. Lois, you are the president. I would like to give the control to you for now. Very quickly, I have been summoned by our chief judge, so I will be back.
Thank you, Roger. So we have so many amazing guests here. We've got district director, we have different area directors. My question to you is, how many of you had never seen an online contest, and was this something unique? Go ahead and raise your hand. Just looking for some input here, scrolling the screens. We do have a few. And hopefully that was a really good way for you to see how it can be done. It's not that hard. It just takes a little bit of advanced planning. So I'd like to ask some of the guests that I have been heard from. Willa Sue, did you introduce yourself? You can unmute yourself and say hello. Okay, how about I unmute you and see if you can say hello? Can you say hello?
Are you talking with me?
Okay. All right, how about, let's see, who introduced themselves? We'll go that route. It's a lot easier. June Newton? Angela?
Can you please repeat the question?
I'm just asking you to say hello and say who you are and where you're from.
Oh, I spoke a little. I didn't say where I'm from. I'm from a club in the Florida Panhandle, and it's District 77.
Well, welcome. We're happy to have you. How about Evelyn Benson? Evelyn, have you said hello yet? I don't have unmuting power, so you have to unmute yourself. I'll just keep scrolling through until people start saying hello. Anat from District 4, California.
Hi, everyone. I'm in San Francisco. What were the other things you wanted to hear?
Oh, just how did you hear about us and did you enjoy it and learn something?
Oh yeah, I loved, well, caliber of the speakers is quite high. So it was a pleasure to watch this contest. I heard about online presenters that David Carr gave maybe a day or two before last week's meeting. And it was about presenting online because there are many clubs, at least in my district, probably worldwide, that are needing to move to virtual meetings.
All right, well, we're glad you're here then. Marcy, I saw you raising your hand, so does that mean you didn't get a chance to introduce yourself? Do so. Can hear you? Is your mic on?
Yeah, I got my mic on.
There you go, a little bit louder.
Hi, my name's Marcy Field, and I'm zooming in from just outside of Calgary, Alberta in Canada, District 42, and we have been busy getting our clubs online. It's exciting, and I'm here because one of our members, Ruby Guna, was also here. She noticed the meeting and invited me to come in and watch the contest. So very excited to see it. Great caliber of speakers. Well done.
Great, we're so glad you're here. Let's see, wave your hand if you haven't been able to introduce yourself. Dewey, our 4-time DTM, introduce yourself.
Yes, I have a DTM 4 times. My 5th one will be turned in the next month or two. I've been a Toastmaster since 2013. I've been an area director 3 times, a division director once, currently an area director. My first time as an area director was actually area governor. They told me you're supposed to bring all of your clubs to distinguished and charter a new club. So nobody told me that not everybody did it. So I put all 4 of my clubs in my area to President's Distinguished, chartered a new club and took them to President's Distinguished as well. I was told a couple of years later there were only 4 clubs in the 4 areas in the world that did that. As far as online Toastmasters, this is the first online Toastmasters club that I have had an opportunity to view. When this coronavirus came about, they told everyone that we had to start going online. No one in District 43 has an online club. I researched Toastmasters International and found online presenters, signed up, and you were gracious enough to invite me to your meeting. I'm glad that I was able to come. Amazing speakers. Those speakers, could any one of them become a world champion of public speaking? I'm really excited about this group.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you being here, and we will all take the accolades at one shot. Thank you so much. I'm partial because I love this club, so still don't know why I signed up and still don't know why I'm still here, but I do love this club, and it's hard to let go of family because that's what we become. But well, 4 times you're making us all feel like slackers. I got to tell you, I'm rounding out number 2. But Graham, I bet, how many DTMs do you have, Graham?
I've only got the 1, but I'm working on my 2nd. In fact, I have a HPL project, which I'd like to just have 30 seconds to plug if I can. I'm holding, or at least I'm facilitating, an online demonstration meeting this Saturday London, England time. Now, this probably won't suit North American members because it starts at either 1 o'clock on the West Coast or 4 o'clock Saturday morning on the East Coast. But if you're in Europe or anywhere else in the world, it starts at 8 o'clock UK time or UTC, and it'll be a 2-hour demonstration meeting demonstrating how to run an online Toastmasters community club. So if your club is moving online, this could be a really good way to learn some skills. I'll put the link in the chat if you want to join us, but feel free to contact me if you'd like some further details.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. And I see Roger is here now. Roger, are we ready? I'm still going to keep going. Okay, I'm good at this. So let's see. Raise your hand if you have not had a chance to introduce yourself. I'm looking for those raised hands. Great. Oh my goodness. Let me try and say this name. Ji Hong.
Yeah, hi everyone. This is also my first time to join the online club. I was looking for one online club. This is really fabulous. I have never seen such so good quality, even conducted online. I'm in Phoenix now, Arizona, and I'm a founder of a psychology company. So, I mean, my business is very similar to Toastmaster. I'm trying to learn more from this club and get to know each other if I join the club.
Well, we're happy to have you. Thank you. Kathy Dyke, did you have a chance to introduce yourself?
I sure did earlier on, but I'll say it again for those who weren't there. I'm from Miami, Florida. I'm a member of 3 clubs in District 47. And I'm really interested in this online presenters club. I think it's an interesting twist to the regular club. And I think it's going to be here for us for the future because that's where we're headed.
You're right. Let me tell you a little bit about Online Presenters. Online Presenters was created 4 years ago, and our founding father is David Carr. We are an advanced club, and we require that you have at least 6 speeches under your belt, or if you have not finished 6 speeches, whether that's in the Confident Communicator and PAS, that you have that equal experience in your professional work. And if you do, then after your second visit, we ask you to provide Elaine, 3 to 5 minute speech, a 3 to 5 minute speech telling us about who you are and why you think online presenters would be a good fit for you. And then, of course, like any club, you get voted in. But this is really, as you can see, it's a high caliber club. And when you get in here and you get those evaluations, well, let me just say this. If you like evaluations, this is the club to be because there are some great evaluations going on here. Am I right, club online presenters? Just shake your head yes. I'll pay you later. Thank you. See, they're all shaking their head yes. All right, let's see. Shakira, did you get a chance to introduce yourself? Okay. Catherine McGowan, have you introduced yourself?
No, I haven't. Hello. I'm in New York City, and I was lucky enough to catch your presentation last night, and you mentioned this, so that's what brought me here. So thank you. That was awesome, and so this contest was great too. So I hope we can take some of that away and have some good contests up here in New York. Thank you.
You are most welcome. And I do believe if you go to toastmastersd47.org, the materials that we had last night are all downloadable. So you can get all of that information if it's something that you need.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else that we have not introduced over here? Great, Rick Durling. Ooh, I'm getting hands now. I'm excited. Rick.
Greetings, everybody. I am a member of technically 4 clubs in District 28. My home club is Confident Communicators, and I live in Washington Township, which is north of Detroit. I have to extend a humble thank you to all of the online presenters members, especially those of you that have helped me get a hold of, understand, and actually help 5 clubs in District 28 already get up online with meetings. I personally am an absolute believer in the connectivity that all of this is enabling, and especially with Michigan and so many places around the world locking down, this is an absolutely awesome forum, and Online Presenters is to be commended for making it possible for me to have that much success. Thank you all.
Thank you. We're glad we could help. Dominic, I saw your hand going up. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Of course. So my name is Dominic. I'm initially.
A little bit louder, sir. We can't hear you.
Okay. My name is Dominic. I'm initially from Austria, but I'm currently in the US. And so I was a club in Austria. And now I was at the US at the club, and now I'm also moving to online sessions.
Wonderful. We're glad to have you. Daryl Pace, would you introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. My name is Daryl Pace. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. I have greatly enjoyed the meeting. The speakers were fantastic. I joined so that I could learn more about how an online meeting is conducted, and I've learned a lot. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
And where are you from?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville. Okay, well, Roger is now giving me that, which means he must have the winners ready. Roger, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Madam President. And now, the moment we have been waiting for, the announcement of the winners. I am pleased to announce that there is no disqualifications. And our third place winner is Christian. Our second place winner is Jim Barber. And drum roll, please. The winner of our 2020 Online Presenters Video Speech Contest is John Callahan.
All right.
Let's give all our contestants another round of applause. Woo! Wonderful job, everybody. The contest is officially adjourned. Please stop our recording.